Good morning vlog. It is Wednesday, February 27th, and I am trying to finish up this podcast so I can get it out on time for approval. I don't have that much more to do. I just need to make a quick intro for the podcast episode because we have a different speaker this week, and the one that I currently have will not work. So that's what I'm doing this morning. I'm going to write a little bit of an intro script for me to narrate from for the introduction. And if I can, I'm going to try and record it on here just so you can see a little bit of my production process. So if I flip the camera around, this is the program that I use called Reaper. I really love this. It's called a digital audio workstation. And as you can see, I have a couple of different tracks here. And the top track is always for our speaker. In most cases, it's Pastor Audie. And so I've already imported the audio here, and I haven't made any final touches on where to place it yet. But this is my voiceover for the introduction track. Nope, sorry. This is the music. My bad. I can't read my own notes. And then this is my voiceover for the introduction track. So we have our intro music come in, then there's my voiceover that starts, and then the intro music slowly fades out while I slowly fade in eventually the lesson for the day. But I need to record a new intro because Pastor Audie isn't doing the lesson this week. Okay, I'm walking you through some more of my setup here. I've written up a very short intro script. It doesn't have to be that long, just a quick discussion of just welcoming people to the podcast, what the podcast is, and that for this week we have a special guest speaker, and just to enjoy the episode. And how I have it set up right now, I put in an extra audio track here under where my mixing and compression and all those special effects that are applied to my voice on this audio track right here. But what I need to do is I need to solo it so I don't hear any other tracks. By doing that, by hitting that solo button, it mutes every other track so I don't hear it while I'm recording. And of course, I need to arm this guy for recording. And how I arm it for recording is just by hitting that little red button there. And now you can see my audio levels as I'm talking into my microphone right there. So that's coming from this guy. And sometimes I like to do a couple of different takes. What I do is I just keep going through the spiel. And if I mess up or whatever, I just keep going. I make a little click noise with my mouth sometimes just to make a little a visual spike in the audio waveform. So I know hey, this is a new take. So you may want to delete the previous or, compare a couple of things. So I'm going to go ahead and record this right now. And that might be what you see. Hello and I've already messed up. Gosh. Hello and welcome to Messiah's Upper Room podcast. Each week you'll join Messiah's Upper Room Bible study class led by Pastor Jim Audie. This week we have guest speaker Gina Lerman lead the class in a discussion on the 8th commandment. Enjoy. I guess I didn't have to take that many takes. So I have the audio right here. This is where I messed up. This portion right here. See that little click right there? That's how I signaled to myself that I needed to make a new take. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just cut this right here, and I'm going to delete that because we don't need that. This is the part that I want, and I'm listening ahead real quick. And that's where I end it. So I'm going to delete the rest of that. This is the important part here. And I have some actions already set up inside Reaper. That's why it's such a powerful tool. You can do some automation in it, and with a couple of keystrokes I can perform a variety of different actions. Basically what the process that I'm going to use right now, it's going to select that entire track, the entire waveform, and normalize it to a certain decibel level, a certain loudness level if we want to get technical-ish or less technical. I don't know. Anyway, it does some special stuff and helps make the waveform a little bit more uniform, and it brings up the dynamics where the dynamics of my voice are low, it brings it up. The portions where the dynamics of my voice are high, it kind of brings it down a little bit, and it makes for a much more enjoyable experience. And it also makes it a little bit louder for final mixing. I always like to do mixing a little bit louder, because then in post, while it's exporting and some other effects that I have, it'll bring that loudness level down to something the normal person can hear. And so I have this track selected, and I'm going to hit my special keystroke, and there it goes. All right, there we go. And I'm actually going to have it start at the same area where this guy starts, but what I'm going to do now, I need to unarm this, unsolo it, but what I need to do now is just mute this, because I don't want that track at all to be in the final product. And basically what I need to do now is just get this a little bit settled, and then I need to settle my outro, where this is my outro music, and I need to copy over my outro, my normal outro for the end of the podcast. Exporting the audio track now, and then I'm going to upload it and send it off to Pastor Audie for approval. And before I send it off and upload it to the podcast distribution network that I use, or to Pastor Audie, I do some final touches on the audio file by adding ID3 tags, which is basically just metadata information that says like, oh, this is the episode title, this is who it's by, this is the episode number, this is when it was produced, this is what type of genre it is. So I use a tool called MP3 tag that does it, and here's the episode that I have selected here. I can copy it over, and this is all the information. I can also include the artwork on there, and then I also use a separate application called Checker, which is pretty neat. Checker basically just looks at the audio levels throughout the entirety of the audio file, and to make sure that it's within certain parameters of loudness, and it has a couple of other checks. I actually use it for somebody on LibriVox.org wrote this application as kind of like a automatic quality control checking application for volunteers when they submit audiobook narrations. And so I just use it as kind of a quick check on the audio podcasts that I produce to make sure that they're at the proper loudness level. So I'm still going to get some errors whenever I check this file here. So I have this file, check files. It's going to run through that and start checking it. And as you can see, there it goes, checking. And it's either going to come up as failed or passed with warnings, but that's okay. Pass with warnings, cool. If I go to the information tab here, what I want to see base is that the volume is between 82 and I think it's 88 or 90 decibels, which is exactly what I want to make sure it's within the level. So basically the only reason why I pass with warnings is because the file name should use all lowercase letters, and that's more a LibriVox standard. They want to have a uniform all lowercase letters and certain other formatting whenever you submit an audio track to them for review and proof listening. But since I'm producing the podcast and sending it out, I don't really care about that stuff. I have my own naming convention that I use for our podcast. I use a service called Simplecast to help upload the podcast and whatnot and distribute it. And I just get the episode ready to go. I don't publish it yet. You can actually schedule the publishing date. So I'm actually scheduling to publish it later today at 3:55. I need to get into a better habit of having a set direct time to release the podcast each week, which I'm hoping to get more into when we complete the 10 Commandments, and I can actually get us ahead a few episodes where I don't have to finish editing the podcast and sending it off for approval for publishing later that day. I want to have a few weeks worth of episodes already in the can and ready to go. And then that way I can set a normal release schedule and consistently hit it each week. And before I send it off to Pastor Audie, I upload the podcast, the file, to a Google Drive that I set up for the church, just because I don't want I want the numbers that we get from the podcast feed to be as true as possible to the number of subscribers. It's a little hard to track how many people are actually subscribed to the podcast, but this way I'm able to keep the download numbers independent, because Pastor Audie is listening to the file on the Google Drive and not listening to the file on the podcast feed. Let me turn this around real quick. I have all the previous episodes. There's the latest. I just right click on it and share to get a shareable link that I can now copy and send over to Pastor Audie. A little late to work, but that's all right. I'll either make up the time having a short lunch and whatnot. I just have to accelerate a few things that I need to get done this morning, which is manageable. But coming on the way here to work got me a little fired up on some pet peeve of mine of people that drive. And that is, if you are in a parking lot, you're driving through the parking lot and you need to stop, there are parking spaces around you. That's what they're designed for. They're designed for your vehicle to be there. Don't park and stop in the middle of a place where you're driving through, especially in a parking garage. The name of the garage is where you park your car. So don't stop in the lane of traffic where cars are designed to go through when there are parking spaces literally everywhere around you. Anyway, rant over. Time to get to work. On my lunch break now, and I brought lunch and had it already in the office, but I still have some extra time. So what I'm going to do is just have a walk around outside, because even though it's overcast, I don't think it's too rainy or wet. So I'm just going to go and, get some fresh air, walk around, get some exercise, squeeze that in where I can, but also use this time to kind of scope out some areas to potentially, take some photos or something. And then also, while I'm walking around, just use this as an opportunity to do more hashtag keyword research to use on Instagram and Twitter and other platforms, just to see what I can come up with. I have a document right now where I am just adding various hashtags that I'm interested in, some that aren't necessarily incredibly popular, but have enough traffic that I might be able to help target other people of similar interests as me. And also looking into doing keyword research for different hashtags for day of the week. That is something that I really want to hit more on, is trying to make a post each and every day, and having a hashtag for each day of the week really helps with that. Out and about on my walk, and a friend of mine from work dropped off some hydration for me on their way back into the office. So I guess it's the little things that you can appreciate. This isn't a sponsor, but I've never drank as much LaCroix in my entire life as I have this past week, and it's the first time that I've ever had it. And I haven't liked most of the flavors. Like I've had the lemon lime, which just tastes like water carbonated Skittles. I've had the passion fruit, which was okay. I had the tangerine, which was all right, but I'm not really blown away by too much. This one, the pamplemousse, the grapefruit, is definitely the clear winner so far. But I don't know if I would normally just go out and actively grab them. I have realized that since I've been on this keto diet and given up sodas, that I just don't. I miss having sodas, but I don't miss the sugar of the sodas. Does that make sense? I have cravings for just carbonated drinks in general, but just carbonated or sparkling water just doesn't taste right to me. So the LaCroix or other flavored carbonated sparkling water beverages may seem like a good way to go. And like I said, I wouldn't drink these every day, but for the occasional craving that I have for just something carbonated that isn't a beer, I would probably go with one of these. Going to need to head back into work now, but had a pretty good walk and brainstorming session. Actually, I came up with an idea. I don't know if this is original or not, but I mean, all this hashtag research that I'm doing right now, especially for the weekday ones, I'm thinking of creating a Snapchat, not Snapchat, but Instagram story series featuring Instagram posts, popular Instagram posts of that Instagram hashtag, and then just putting it on my story for people to see and look at, because that'll get me to explore more in those hashtags, but also give other people exposure and help me kind of get acquainted with that system more. And if I remember correctly, it will also help me get some exposure by using those hashtags. It'll help with some organic search, some organic reach that way. I'm not gonna lie, I feel like a peak millennial, walking around and drinking fracking LaCroix and talking about social media, but you know what? I don't care. Heading out from work now. I'm gonna go grab some dinner on my way to church to do our sound rehearsal for our praise team, and I'm gonna continue on with doing some of that keyword research. I made some good progress, but I'm not throughout the entire week yet on the weekday hashtags. I'm on Wednesday last time I checked, so that means Thursday and the rest of the week I have to find some specialized hashtags for. I'm learning more and more about different hashtags and different interests for people throughout the week, which I'll be happy to share later. Here at church, and for some reason today, people just can't stop giving me LaCroix. This one is the cran raspberry flavor, so I guess I'm going to try this one out too. Thanks, Matt. I'm not quite sure what to think of this. It's familiar, but I can't put my finger on it. It's definitely the most fragrant of the however many I've tried. Maybe it tastes like carbonated, watered down NyQuil. The grapefruit, I think, is still well in the front. Back at home now and going to do some more reading. I'm going to try and finish up that book, hopefully, maybe tonight, if not sometime this week. And then that way I can take some more notes on it and just prepare for the interview that I need to do after that. Just if anything else, I'll probably get an early start to bed just so I can wake up early on time tomorrow, because the past couple of days I've been sleeping in a little bit later than I wanted to, and it's about time to get back on track.